red, white, and free. If you're looking for a fight, you found me.
All right, we're at week 2, day 2, doing some benching, some weighted dips, all the rest of the stuff, and got my pre-workout in me. Gonna be back on our normal schedule for the week after yesterday's slight change up. So let's get in there, let's get warmed up, let's get after it, let's hit some good numbers. See you then.
All right, we're on the day 2 of week 2. That means it's heavy bench day. As yesterday went, we did our leg day 2 on leg day 1, which not ideal, but it is what it is. So back to our normal scheduled programming at this time. So that means we're doing, as I mentioned, heavy bench, and we're on our 3x3+ set week. So be AMRAPing that last set at 190. But before all that, we got to get warmed up. So we're starting with our external rotators, get them rotator cuffs nice and warmed up and loose for the heavy benching we're about to do. So as always, do about 10 to 15 each side, just nice and controlled, making sure I start to get a burn in the shoulders and rotator cuffs. That's how I know it's getting warmed up nicely. And then from there, I will do band pull-aparts. And as I've mentioned before, every 5 reps or so, I move my hands in closer to put more tension on the resistance band. And I guess this week I'm doing the prone W's first. So going from the rotator cuffs, I did my prone W's. And this is just focusing on getting the shoulder blades down and together as you need to start a really good bench press setup. So not so much as a shoulder warm up, but more of a making sure the shoulder blades are moving in the right direction. And then now I'm on my band pull aparts. So every 5 or so, move my hands in closer together to add more tension to the band. And this is more for another shoulder blade activator warm up focus. I notice I have the hardest time getting my shoulder blades together and utilizing a good brace for bench. So really just focusing on being able to get the brace and set up good and down for bench. So after my 2 rounds of those warm-ups, I go to the empty barbell as always, and I do 5 with a pause and then 5 regular tempo. Then after that, I'll add on some weight, feel out a set of 3 to 5 and see how that feels. So that was moving really good. And now I'm on to my first set of 3 at 160, I believe. 150. So those 3 went well. My next set of 3 at 170 moved pretty well. So at this point, I'm feeling pretty pumped up that 190 is going to move exceptionally well. And it really did. So I ended up hitting a PR at 190 with 5 reps. I don't think I've ever moved 190 for 5 that easily. Had very minimal butt lift off on the pad, which I'm happy with. Really focusing on getting that leg drive and keeping everything plastered to the bench. So as you'll see here, I'm pretty ecstatic about that. And then going on to my next favorite exercise, which is weighted dips. And again, 3 sets of that 6 to 8 rep range, adding 5 pounds from last week. So as of now, I am up to my body weight plus 30 pounds. So roughly 215-ish pounds of total weight. So I did 876 for those sets, and I was just feeling good. The music was going, the weights were moving. I was pumped. Pre-workout was in me and it was kicking, and I was just in a really good mood today, and hitting that 5 on the bench made it even better. So here's my second set of weighted dips. Again, got 1 less, but I'm still happy with it. If I can stay in, I have wrote down in 6 to 8 reps ranges on weighted dips and pull-ups, but that's a loose term. If I hit 4 or 5 to 8, I'm happy with that. It's more of 0 reps in reserve type movement for me, whereas the main lifts I'm getting pretty close to failure. And then, so today I changed it up with machine seated press. I normally would do a dumbbell seated press, but I was like, you know what, it's here, let's give it a shot and see how it feels. And I went a little lighter than I probably should have. I did the 4 sets of 8 total on each set, and I did it at 100 pounds. So I definitely could have upped the weight on that and pushed it a little harder, but I think next week I'm going to go back to dumbbells. I think I like the dumbbell press a little better, a little more functional in my sense, and that gives me more of that unilateral work that I try to get to on the middle of my workouts. So, but I'm happy with how the machine went. It was different stimulus and couldn't have asked for anything else. So like I said, 4 sets of 6 to 8 on that one. So like with the body weight movements, I usually just stick to about 3 sets of it and really push it, where then my next immediate exercises are 4 sets. Well, just the next exercise actually, because then after that it's more isolation and unilateral work. So 4 sets of the 6 to 8, and yeah, going from there, I then will, as I mentioned, go into my isolation work. So on push day 1, I do tricep push downs and double lateral raises, and then finish out the workout with 2 sets of dumbbell skull crushers and rear dumbbell flies as burnout sets. So anywhere from 12 to 15 reps. Not going for complete muscle burnout, but just something in the higher rep range to finish out the muscles that I used. And yeah, so again, it's been a minute since I've done tricep push downs on a dedicated like tricep push down machine like this one is. So I really didn't know where to go with weight on that, as I've been doing it just at work on like a lat pull down machine or resistance bands at home. So I ended up doing 30 pounds on that and shooting for 3 sets of 8 to 12 on each arm, and I ended up getting 12 reps on all the sets for both arms. So I think next week I'll add 5 or 10 pounds and really push it, because I feel like that's where I'm lacking, is kind of that thickness of the arms. So that and dumbbell hammer curls, I think I'm going to start hammering out a little more than some of the other movements. But overall it was good. You'll notice that on my tricep push downs I start with like more of a pronated grip, and as I'm going down I turn it more neutral and upward in the back. Just helps me get that good squeeze on the tricep. I still seem to feel it more in the bigger head which I think is the long head, and I know this way is more of a lateral head movement, but if you guys have any tips, suggestions on how to feel it more in the lateral head, I'm open to it, as that's the part that I want to grow more. But overall I'm seeing more definition and progress strength-wise with how I've been working out with the weighted dips and then isolation movements, so I'm happy with that. This should be my last set of tricep push downs, and I thought it would get harder each set, harder to hit that 12 reps, but it actually got easier. So I must take a little longer to warm up and get going than I thought, because as I progressed in this workout it felt better and better. So I don't know, I guess it's all trial and error really. You never know how each day is going to feel, and you just have to work with it. So yeah, going from here then I will so like on leg day I try to do, after my main lift, quad ham accessories, whereas then on chest day I keep my accessories more tricep and shoulder focused. So I'll do my heavy bench and then I'll do tricep shoulder and so on. So here I am then on my last, in a sense, shoulder isolation movement with the 3 sets of 8 to 12 again. Again, when I say 8 to 12, it's loose, so if I end up getting 6 to 12, I'm still okay with that. And I went with 20s on this and did 3 sets of 12 probably a tad light, but I was really focusing on controlled reps and then a brief pause at the top. Just really trying to build up that side delt, get that thickness on pretty much all the arm and shoulder part, help build that wider physique. I'm trying to get more of that classic Greek god style physique, not so much as a modern day bodybuilding, because that's just, I don't know, it's not my thing. I'd rather just have a nice classic old style physique that when people look at you, they go, yeah, he's pretty ripped and muscular, so not gonna mess with that guy. And slowly getting there, slowly seeing my body fat shred away and muscles that I have never seen show up. So on to my final movement for triceps, which I said is a burnout set. 2 sets of 12 to 15 dumbbell skull crushers. You'll see on day 2 then I do a barbell skull crusher, and then day 1 I do dumbbells. Just movements I like doing. I'm thinking I'm going to start twice a week, but one of the days use dumbbells and the other day use a barbell, just so I can, go slightly heavier on it and build that side of it. But day 1 I'm focusing it on dumbbells. So with these I ended up doing the 2 sets, and I did 15 on my first and 11 on my second at 25 pounders. So I think next week I haven't decided. I may try to do 2 sets of 15 at the same weight, or I may do this workout at home where I can do a decline for a change, because the last few weeks I've been doing it at this gym where the benches don't go into a decline setting. So I may keep the weight the same and just do a decline, but we'll see. We'll see how my schedule falls. And then my last shoulder movement for the day, rear flies, 2 sets again, 12 to 15, and I ended up doing 15 for both sets, and I did 20 pounders. This is something I don't do a lot of and have never really done a lot of, so I didn't know how much weight to use. So I definitely will add weight next week. But you will notice that on my 2 sets, my first set I do with that style grip, and then my second I turn the dumbbells and do more of a neutral grip. And just, I feel it in different spots when I do that, whereas like this way I feel it more in the rear delts, and then like on the first set, the way I was holding them, I feel it more in like the middle traps, like between the shoulder blades. I don't know if that's normal, or if that's just how my muscles are activating and how I'm thinking about it, but I usually try to do one of each. Just got done with my first push day of week 2, and it went freaking awesome. I ended up getting 5 reps on my AMRAP set at 190 on bench. Then I did heavier weighted dips, better than what I did last week. And the rest of the accessories, they were all moving really well. So I call this definitely an A++ day. And tomorrow is pull day. So we'll be working up to an AMRAP set on deadlifts at, I think it's 305, 315, somewhere in there. And then we'll do the rest of the stuff I usually do. So that's it for me today. Hope you all enjoyed the video. Please like and subscribe. I would like to do this a lot more often and see where this takes me. So see y'all tomorrow.